morning, everyone. Sending a few tweets out. Let's get everyone in here. All right. Eric, good morning. Tommy, good morning. Daryl, good morning. Nancy, good morning. Good morning, good morning. He's buy or run. Philip, good morning. All right, guys. Gonna wait till 8:35. Let everyone kind of tune in here, and we'll get right to it. Face J Promo, good morning. Al-Kaizi, good morning. Oscar, good morning, my man. How you doing? All right. Let's wait a few minutes. Wait till 8:35. Let's take a look at job reports number come out now. Let's take a look. The jobless claims numbers came out 1476 versus the forecasted 1580. Rayhan, good morning. Vishu, good morning. Nancy, everyone smash the like button. Good morning, first time here. None, good morning. Oh, Patty, good morning. Foolish Snowboarder, my man, what's going on? Good morning, good morning. All right, guys, 8:31, gonna wait till around 8:35, and then we'll kind of get started. If you guys are here, go ahead and smash that like button. I would greatly appreciate it. Yeah, we'll get going here shortly. Haircut's about a week old. Alright, guys, we've got 4 more minutes here and we'll get it rocking. Steve, what's going on? Good morning. Good morning, Allie. Where's my 3 espressos? All right. Jocelyn Garcia, good morning. All right. About 3 more minutes here and we'll get it kicked off. We'll start with the SPY, we're going with the Qs. And then we will talk about some of the free alerts. And yeah, and then we'll get into some of the questions that you guys may have. We'll take it from there. Mon, good morning, my man. How you doing? All right, about 2 more minutes and we'll get it kicked off. Nizam Hakimi gets right into it. Just wants to know about Apple. Pavan Kumar, good morning. All right. All right. We got about maybe one more minute, and then we'll get started. Mary, good morning. Hope everyone's having a safe Thursday morning here. Alika, good morning. Good morning. All right, guys, about a minute to go, and we'll get kicked off. Can you talk of what to expect at opening bell, please? I've never traded a day like this. I will do. Skyzen, my man, good morning. How you doing? All right, guys. Let's go about 15 seconds here. And we'll get kicked off right at 8:35. All right, guys. So once I get into it, we'll talk about the SPY. We'll talk about the Qs. Then we'll go over some of the free alerts. And then at the end, if you guys have questions, make sure you go ahead and let me know what tickers you guys want me to take a look at. Are you looking to day trade it? Are you looking to swing trade it? Or are you looking to buy it for long term? And on what side do you want to be on? Are you looking for calls or puts? That way it helps me not guess and actually answer the question that you guys may have. All right, before we get started, go ahead and smash that like button. And with that said, let's get right to it. So we have the SPY here. We've talked about the double top that took place here. We've talked about this little H that once broken, we can see continued sell-off, which we got that. Now, what we really were paying attention to in the last, I guess, day or so is this massive H that was going to take place on the weekly chart. So if we look at the weekly chart, we can see the sell-off, this H that took place, and that snap of that 420.90 level was really going to send us to the lower levels. All right, obviously, with the unfortunate circumstances that are taking place in the world today, we do have a nice, not a nice, but a significant gap down in the overall market, and the current market is sitting at around 411.13. All right, so 411.13. This next pivot low is around 414 that I have drawn. So we are under that, and we're sitting at 411. All right, so 411 is somewhere in between these little pockets that I have. Let me zoom out so we see more of the SPY chart here. All right, so there we go. What are we looking at here? We are sitting at around 411 in this area right here. We have the next major pivot low. It's going to be around 405. We're going to have to keep an eye on this, and I'll give you some more detailed levels. And as soon as I get into the 15-minute, we can talk about those detailed levels. Let me put up all my levels here. Perfect. So this 410.96 level is going to be the level that we have to keep our eyes on. All right, if we can remain above this out of the open and hold these levels, I think there's going to be a lot of people who have been pretty much net puts or net short on the overall market who are going to try and come in and cover their shorts. Or try to get into some dip buying opportunities at this area this morning. But mostly the short covering is what we're going to have to keep an eye on to see if this is going to pop back up. All right, that 410.96 level is a level to keep an eye on here. If we can maintain above this, great. We can see a push to the 414 level, 415, and then ultimately that 417.90. 419 level. Why? Because we have the significant sell-off in the pre-market, which means that our close up here at 422 and our open down here at 410 is going to give us a pretty big gap fill on the daily chart that we could try to fill into if we start pushing these numbers early on. And if we get those people short covering or buying back their orders, we might get that push back to this 417, 417.90, 419 area. Okay. So that's one thing to keep an eye on, that 410.96. How are we going to react at the open once we get orders coming through? Are we going to just get sell-off, more panic selling to take place, and we come lower, or are we going to get some people who are going to cover their shorts and some dip buyers stepping in? That's the main level that I'm watching and going into the open. If we lose that and we do see some aggressive selling come in, the next level I'm watching is that 408.60. Okay, we lose the 408.60, we open up to these levels down below, and that 405.16 is that level that I've mentioned. All right, so that 405.16 is going to be a key level to keep an eye on. If we lose that 405.16 level, we could see a pull down to the 403 and ultimately that 400, which is going to be a big round number for the SPY to keep its eye on. All right, so keep it very, very simple, guys. There's no need for you to, there's lots of things going on in the media right now. There's no need for you to add extra emotions to it. Just simply trade your levels. As hard as that may sound, don't try to give yourself a bias. Don't give yourself an opinion where, whatever you're seeing out there on the media, don't try to play that into your actual trading. Stick to your levels. Understand that, if we lose this, then our next level is this, next level is this, next level is this, and just trade these levels on the way down or on the way up. All right, don't go into anything with a bias. Don't try to talk yourself into a bias. Just simply see what the market gives you and simply just trade that. All right, so that's as far as the SPY goes. So I'm going to pop back up to the daily chart here, and I want to take a look at the Qs. All right, so the Qs, very similar look. Let me clean up this chart. Very similar look to the SPY, obviously, but the main thing here is that relative weakness we've seen. The SPY was well above the 200 moving average, and we got those double tops happening above the 200 moving average, which is this purple line. But on the Qs, we can see that we took that double top, and we are under the 200 moving average. All right, similar look again. We had this little H that broke. We have a bigger H happening on the weekly chart, and we have some levels to kind of monitor on the downside. All right, obviously we're currently sitting at around 318.24. And the next big pivot low is that 316.25 level. Okay, so let's take a look at the closer time frame here onto the Qs. Put my levels back up. Perfect. All right, so with the Qs, what I'm really paying attention to is this 316 level. All right, 1 second. That 316 level. If this 316.10, this 316.25 is going to be a vital area on the Qs, and that's something I just talked about, right? That 316 level is going to be a nice pivot from the daily chart. So if we can maintain above this 316 level, again, same thing here. If we get people who are trying to dip by this, if we get some sort of an early morning rally coming in, we could see that 316 hold, push to 320, 324, and ultimately that 327 area. Again, simply, we closed yesterday at around 329, so opening at 317 is going to be a significant gap down, and we could try to fill that gap on the way up, if not 100%, at least back to this 327 resistance area. All right, if we lose that 316, then we do open up for pulls down to the 313, 311, nice little pocket under that to the 307.48, 305, and then the 303. Okay, so keep an eye on what's going to happen in the first few minutes of the market open. There will definitely be some volatility that takes place, but be patient. Don't try to kind of jump into trades right out of the gates. Wait to see what the market's going to do. I highly doubt there's going to be massive hedge funds coming in and putting positions on today, so you just have to kind of be patient and wait to see what the market really wants to do in the first 5-10 minutes, and then kind of take a decision afterwards. All right, that's in regards to the Qs and the SPY, but let's talk about what happens when we get massive significant gap downs in the market. All right, so obviously the most recent times where we've seen such massive gap downs was during the COVID crash, most recently about 2 years ago. And during that time, we've had situations where the market has gapped down quite a bit. And once we fell off even further out of the open with more panic selling and people just market ordering their way out of their positions, we came to a position where we would hit 7% circuit breakers. All right, but not to say that's what's going to happen today, but just kind of want to talk about what would happen back then. So after a massive gap down, oftentimes if there isn't continued selling right out of the open, a lot of the times you get these relief bounces, these coverings, these short coverings that take place that push the market back up to resistant levels, and then that's where you're going to see some double top patterns, some reversals, some weakness, some dying volume, and then things would ideally roll over. All right. So take that into consideration. After massive gap down, you also don't want to go shorting blindly unless you have clear direction that shows right out of the gates. If you get that sell-off and that consolidation, then maybe you can take the continuation to the downside. But don't just go in and try to short the open right as soon as the market opens, because we could have a situation where people come in, they're covering their shorts, and we do pop back up towards those older resistance before selling off a little bit more. All right, so just be aware of that, and again, just be a little cautious today in regards to the positions that you're going to take. Know that there's going to be volatility, so you might have to decrease your normal position sizing to kind of make room for the increased volatility. All right. Now let me get into the free alerts that we had. First one is Roku. All right, Roku right here. I have this daily support sitting at 110.18 on Roku. If we can get under this 110.18, I think a pull to the 104.30, 103 level is definitely possible. So watching that one under the 110.18. And if we can get back over this 114 level, which is that pivot from the pre-market, and again, if market decides to push, we could try to fill this gap back up towards that 118 level. All right, so we'll keep an eye on this Roku under the 110.18 for a sell-off down towards that 106, 103 level. And if it pops back up, over the 114, we could see a push back up to that 118 area. All right. Next one is Nvidia. So Nvidia under this 205 level, the daily really opens up. All right, and by opening up, I mean there's going to be not much support on the daily until that 196. So if we can get Nvidia to roll over under the 205. Under that level is when I'll be looking to consider buying some puts to try to bring this down to that 196 area, which is going to see some buyers at that level. However, if this pop back up over that 214 level, which is this little area of resistance in the pre-market, then we can look to try to fill that gap back up towards that 222, 221.50 level. All right. So simple levels to kind of keep an eye on in regards to Nvidia and Roku. Next one I have is SQ. So SQ watching this 82 level. If we lose this 82 level to the downside, we can see that we've sold off, have a nice little flag under that 82 level. We should see continued sell-off. Earnings is today after close. So something to keep a note on. IV is going to be pretty high on this. If we get under the 82 level, we should sell off to the next support of 85. If we do pop back up over that 84.50, which is an area of resistance again in the pre-market, we should see that gap fill attempt to take place until that 87. All right. Now again, a lot of people ask me, hey, how do you take these? When do you enter? Do you have to wait for the first 5 minutes, or what's going on? So this is what I usually tell everybody. Let's say we're waiting for this 820 level to 82 level to break. All right. What I would do if it's within the first 5 minutes and we're coming right to break it, I take the trigger right there out of the gates. All right. If it's within the first 5 minutes, I put on the risk and I take that trade, trying to get that move down, as it will happen pretty aggressively, and I can get my 20-30% very quickly. All right. Now you may tell yourself, okay, so trading the open is going to be really risky. I don't want to do that. So if that's the case, then you wait. If the move does happen and it goes off, great. It is what it is. Then you kind of have to wait for the next play or see if the other ones kind of pan out. If you wait 5, 10, 15 minutes and an hour or so goes by and the stock is kind of doing its thing and then it comes down and penetrates that level, then what you're going to want to do is wait for a retest and then get in on that retest. Why? Because you don't have that morning volatility. You don't have that morning massive volume coming in. At this point, if that support level breaks to the downside, you have to wait for a confirmation of a retest in order to get in to confirm that that move is valid. All right. So hopefully that explains how you guys can take these free alerts. Now, with that said, I do want to give everybody an opportunity to ask some questions. So I'm going to jump into the chat here. If anyone has any questions about some of the tickers they want me to go over, go ahead and let me know. Please let me know if you're looking to day trade it, swing trade it, if you're looking for calls or puts. That way, when I pull up the ticker, I can take a look at it and give you a better answer. Is it feasible to think SPY can bleed out to 400 and below, or will market makers step in and start taking it, start raking in put premiums with short coverings that causes? Yeah, so I mean that's something that I mentioned, right? With premiums, you put premiums that are going to be pretty high, and if a lot of people start smashing that put side, they might try to run this a little bit higher, right to that close price from yesterday to take back some of those premiums. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on. Definitely possible if you are correct. Omicron initial reaction is a prime example. Day after Thanksgiving, make sure not 50%. Awesome. All right, so someone's asking about Apple. I'm gonna go into Apple here. Take a look at the Apple daily chart. So the Apple daily chart, Apple's currently sitting at around 153. 153 is around here. This 153 level is sitting right around here, pretty close to that 200 moving average. You have a pivot high right here at this level. If you're thinking about Apple here, I think you really have to keep an eye on this 153. All right, if this level continues to hold, we could track back and hit these 157s, 158 levels. However, if we do lose this 153, you could try to buy the puts to try to take a ride down to the 150 on this one. All right, mRNA. Take a look at mRNA. So mRNA had earnings today, and mRNA also has a pivot at this 125 level. All right, IV premiums. I mean, premiums are going to be pretty high on mRNA simply because the earnings is today. Now, I would preferably want this to roll over and come down under the 125, 125.84, 125.30 level. If it does that, great. I think it could sell off to the 117. That's kind of what I'll pay attention to, as that's going to be the easy move down. To try to take this on the long side, you would really need to get over this, I would say 134 level, and then look for a push to the 138, because that's where you have that clear resistance, right? That support broke and now acting like resistance. So I'll keep an eye on mRNA. If it does roll over to the 125.30, I'd be more interested on the downside move, because there isn't going to be much support under it. Can give us a nice fluid move to the downside. But to take a trade over the 134, you're gonna have to fight all this congestion from yesterday. It might not be an easy move to the 138, but it could get there. What level do you think is a good entry for Nvidia for my long term? Let's take a look at Nvidia. So again, with anyone investing in anything long term, always understand that you have to do your research and understand, how long are you going to want to stick by the company that you're going to invest long term. All right, if you start now and it goes down 50%, will you still be willing to hold? If that's the case, then great. Have some funds available to add to your position if it does pull a little bit. With that said, I always say, buy your favorite stocks at around the 200 moving average. You can see if you pull up any chart with good strength, anytime the stock comes to a close to that 200 moving average, is a good place to start buying or start a position on your long term. So this one right here, anywhere around this 220, is it at now 210? You could start a position at 210. I'm not saying this is going to be the bottom, but you would have to start with at least 1/5 to 1/6 of your actual size that you want to hold, and then look to add as this comes down, as we see some more weakness coming in some of the tech names in the market overall towards this 160, 142 level. All right, always have room to add, always give yourself position, enough ammo to add. Don't go in full size right out of the gates, especially on your long terms, because this could come back down 50, 60%, and you might be a little worried at that point. Puts on AMD. All right, AMD is sitting at around 104. So somewhere up here. Let's take a look at the 15-minute chart. Perfect. So puts on AMD, two things you have to kind of pay attention to. Again, we've had this drastic sell-off from 109, sitting at around 102 in the pre-market. You're going to have to see some sort of a reversal pattern present itself after the market opens, or if that doesn't take place, you're going to have to see this level of 103 to break to the downside. If it does, then you can try to buy puts towards that 100 number. However, you have to wait for some sort of a pattern currently to present itself, or you need a break of the 103. I wouldn't just buy puts blindly out of the open, because it could push to the 107 and then the 109 area to try to fill that gap. Next one, someone is asking about DWALK puts. So implied volatility on DWALK is 450%, north of 300, north of 500, depending on which strikes you choose. Do you want to buy puts at this stage? I'm not, that's not really something I would do. I'm not a fan of this stock. I'm not a fan of this manipulated, massive, pump and dump essentially that's been taking place here. I simply stay away from this. There's lots of better things you can trade in the market. You don't need to waste your time on this high IV stuff. But for as far as puts goes, if you lose this 78 level, you could see a pull to the 77.40 and then the 75. Again, if you could, I would stay away from buying puts because the IV is 500. And if you take a position and you're wrong within seconds, that IV can eat away your premiums and you're pretty much stuck. Tesla puts. So everyone looks like it looks like everyone's on that put mentality. So Tesla puts, after such a significant gap down, again, I wouldn't just buy puts blindly here. I would wait to see what's going to happen at the 727 level. That's an area that I have some resistance at. Maybe if we see some reversal patterns come in, maybe if we see some dying volume at this level, some rounding tops, then you can try the puts there. But you have to be careful because if this pushes up at that 727 level, it's going to try to fill this gap to the 750, 760 area. And then maybe over there is another area you can look for reversals to buy puts. Okay, if this is pushing up, don't try to buy puts. You wait for an area of resistance. Now if this rolls over that 696 level, that's maybe an area you could try to look for puts and take the ride down. But again, you have to wait for that pattern to present itself if you're gonna buy puts closer to the open. Zoom puts. ZM. Sitting at 113. Sitting at 113. So I do have room. Next support I have on ZM is 108. Pretty much bearish engulfing yesterday. Let's take a look at the 15-minute time frame. Yeah, I would really wait for this 113 level to break. We need these bounces to roll over and break the prior pre-market lows if we're going to see continued sell-off. I would wait for the 113 to break on the downside. If it does, then you can look for that push down to the 108.63 on the put side. Do you think market will crash like 2022 beginning of COVID? To be honest, that crash was one of my best trading years, and it was a very quick sell-off, and everything kind of had a V recovery. I kind of hope that is the case, but I don't think that we're gonna sell off like that. I don't think we're gonna see that much aggressive selling. It's gonna be a little bit more controlled, it seems, as of right now. But we'll have to wait for the market open to kind of confirm that. But it doesn't look like we're gonna see that massive explosive sell-offs to the downside here. All right, give me 1 second. Sure what happened to my YouTube studios here, but are we still live? I think we're still live. All right. Do you think, shall we talk about what time frame charts are you looking at? Right now I am looking at the 15-minute time frame. Just looks more appealing when I'm explaining something to somebody, but when I'm day trading, I'm using it 1 minute, 2 minute, 5 minute, and obviously all my levels are coming from daily levels. All right. TTWO have 18 March puts. TTWO. You have puts. I'm not sure when you got into these puts. It is gapping down quite significantly. If you bought them yesterday, the daily is looking a little extended to the downside. You have some support right there at 154, and then you have some support at 149. So let's take a look at the 15-minute time frame here. 115. So yeah, if this, I mean, it's down on very light volume, so this could pop back up and retest. Again, I'm not sure when you took that position. If you took it a while ago and you are sitting at this 154 level, I would definitely look to excuse me, I would definitely look to cut some position, cut some of your contracts and hold remainers for runners. And yeah, hopefully you didn't get in just yesterday and you've been in this for some time now. Can you tell for AMD and Tesla? I think I talked about both AMD and Tesla. What levels would you short Tesla? I think we talked about that already. It needs to get under that 691 for it to continue selling off, or you need a reversal pattern to present itself. Nancy, everyone smash the like button. Yes, yes. Silver calls, SLV. So SLV already gapping up quite a bit here. You're going to have to wait to see if this 235 breaks to the upside. If it does, then you can try to take the calls. It's a name that moves very slowly, so you're not going to get much juice, but it is a safer play. If it does get over that 2350 level, you could try to push it to the 2070 and then the 24 level on SLV. PLTR is in a tough little situation here under that 986 support that I have. If we reject this and roll back over under that 940, we should come down to IPO lows at around 890. Lots of people buried in this name now, and absolutely everybody is now red if this 890 breaks to the downside. Perfect. You've been on the put side for a week or so. Perfect. I would definitely look to scale out of your position at this point and hold some remainers for runners here. Shop under this 595 level is pretty vital. Key area that are broke. Again, just like most other names, if we do roll over, you want to look at that 574 level. If that breaks, it will open up for a pull down to the 509 on Shopify. Okay, but wait and see if this is going to push and try to gap fill. If it does, look for reversal patterns, and then you can continue taking it to the downside. And if it rolls over 574, you can take it to 509. All right, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Again, I do go live every Thursday, regardless of what's going on out there. I will definitely be here every Thursday, try to help you guys out as much as I can, answer any other questions you guys may have every Thursday, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And with that said, go ahead and smash the like button if you guys are still here, if you guys are still listening. I greatly appreciate every single one of you guys tuning in this early to listen to me speak. It definitely means a lot to me. And yeah, man, just stay safe out there.